Welcome to my interview with Robert Trent, the professor of classical guitar in Radford University and the director of Radford Guitar Festival. We are waiting for Professor Trent.
Hello, Professor Trent. How are you?
I'm well. And you, Ashkan?
Thank you. Thank you so much. First of all, I would like to thank you for accepting my invitation. It's an honor for us to have you.
Well, it's a
Now,
pleasure. It's a pleasure. And thank
pleasure
you
is
so
mine.
much for the invitation.
Um, if you agree, I would like to start my questions with the first one.
Okay.
Thank you. Dear Robert, you have been a first prize winner in numerous national and international competitions, including the Web National Guitar Competition, the Masterworks Young Artist Competition, which includes all instruments, and the Chamber Music Prize at the International Competition Arturo Toscanini in Italy. How were these experiences? Could you please tell us more about them?
Okay. I think I'm back.
Yeah. I'm sorry, it's very normal for these kind of interviews could happen.
Yes.
If you agree, I would like to repeat my question. Dear Robert, you have been a first prize winner in numerous national and international competitions, including the Web National Guitar Competition, the Masterworks Young Artist Competition, which includes all instruments, and the Chamber Music Prize at the International Competition Arturo Toscanini in Italy.
Yeah.
How were these experiences? Could you please tell us more about them?
Oh, all so
Thank
different. Well, as you mentioned, the web competition was a national competition here in the United States. That was the second one that I'd ever entered. And the first national competition. And the second competition that I won first prize. So that really gave me a boost. I was quite young, and as anyone who knows who's won a prize, any prize in a competition, it's very encouraging to do more work, to work harder, to continue. And it happening early was very good for me. Then the Masterworks competition, it's hard to say which I'm most proud of, but that one I'm so proud because it wasn't just guitar. It was open to all instruments, including voice, singers as well. And so being even at an early age, a kind of evangelist for the instrument, I feel that that's really important, that the guitar is with other instruments and considered at the same expectations. So we're not in our own little world. Then the Chamber Music Prize in Italy, of course, is different just on the face of it because it's not solo. And I'm proud of that for different reasons, because I think, likewise, what I said about being with other instruments and being thought of equally and having equal high quality expectations, we should be playing chamber music and we should be advocating it. And as a teacher, that's very important to me because, yes, solo career is great, but not everyone is suited for it, and not everyone will have the chance. It's not to say that chamber music is lesser. It's a separate path. And some people are better suited for that. You know, people who I think especially work well with others. And I love it. I couldn't, personally, I would not want to be only soloist or only chamber music. It's all important to me So, um, yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Thank you so much. Dear Robert, you are the professor of classical guitar in Radford University. In
I'm
your
sorry,
opinion,
can you repeat?
yeah, you are the professor of classical guitar in Radford University.
Yes, that's
In
correct.
your opinion, what are the most important things that a guitarist has to consider them during the study music in university and after graduating in their professional life?
Mm. Oh, it's a big question with not a simple answer.
Mhm,
But, um, well, why don't I answer this way? There are certain things every musician must accomplish. So I won't address those. But for guitarists
mhm,
in particular, again, I think studying chamber music, being proficient
mhm,
as a sight reader. Because if you cannot sight read, no one wants to work with you. The
mhm.
flutist who's
Yeah.
capable of playing very fast lines and you cannot keep up, you will not be called again for the next performance. So on the other hand,
Mhm,
if your sight reading skills are very good, your name will spread to other musicians who say, this guitarist can sight read. He can step in tonight and play with you. Not too many
mhm,
guitarists are adept at that. So maybe that's
mhm.
the first thing, that for guitarists specifically, they must be proficient at. Yeah. But for all musicians now, we don't have impresarios as we did in the
Mhm,
past. So this is
mhm,
something guitarists share with every other musician. We have to learn about marketing, about finance,
mhm.
um, and all the things associated with that, because we have to work for ourselves to let people know what we're doing. Otherwise, practicing in your closet every day, nobody knows. So marketing, I suppose, is a term I could use for being professional.
Thank you so much, dear Robert. Now, we'd like to talk about your beautiful composition, Omeci Tolkien.
Okay.
Uh, in your opinion, as a composer, which issues are important to consider them when we are composing for classical guitar? And
Hmm.
could you please tell us also about the story behind of this piece?
Okay, sure.
Two questions
So,
there.
okay. Sure. I'll answer the first one, the first part first,
Thank you.
and then the second. So, um, I think every composer, if you ask 10 composers, they each have a different method of composing. So which one? Well, I think all the things.
Mhm,
Um, One of the things I think, and guitarists grow up, I think, learning or practicing improvisation.
mhm,
So that should be an element of composition, to improvise daily. You get ideas.
mhm,
However, some of the ideas are going to be connected to our tactile ability. In other words, our physical world that we work in, that can be limiting. Uh,
mhm.
to explain
Yeah.
further, what our fingers are used to are patterns. So the patterns are good. We learn patterns, music is patterns, but to break out of the patterns and do something new, it's also important to just work away from the instrument. And whether it's with paper or a computer, doesn't matter. But to free ourselves a little bit, to think differently from the instrument, um, we have to
Mhm,
work away from it as well. So I think both things are important, the tactile connection. But there are great composers who are not guitarists. So obviously, writing away from the instrument is an important skill to have. So now the improvisation part leads me to the second part of your question, which is how the piece came about. And it actually came about completely from improvisation. It was no plan whatsoever. I'm a little emotional when I talk about this piece because the night that the United States was attacked in 3 different places, I was, as many of us, were shaken, and not only here, but in other places. And I went to my refuge, which is music. And my refuge is upstairs in this house. And I went in, and I didn't even turn on the light. And I just began to play whatever came to me. The strange thing is that the entire composition, while I was improvising, the entire structure of the composition came in a flash. And it was like I was trying to keep up with that flash. My fingers were trying to keep up and play it so the tactile memory, at least the tactile physical memory, would be in my fingers. And a strange experience. And then I later wrote it down on paper. So why Tolkien? Why the reference to J.R.R. Tolkien and Siren Song of Evil? Well, it's really because I had part of the revelation of the music was at the same time visual, and I saw a scene. It's before the movie. I had only read the books twice, once as a youth and once later as an adult. So before the movies, I had the image from what I had read of a character, one of the characters picking up those globes, you know, that are a communication with character Sauron, who is ultimate evil. And if you've heard the piece, you know that it begins quietly folk-like to evoke those characters, the hobbits, and some of their innocence in a kind of Celtic tune. The middle of the piece is all of the more a feeling, not a picture, but a feeling of the conflict now that this character has been contacted by evil and he fights with evil. But we know, if anyone has read the stories or seen the films, they know that in the end of that, even that scene with the Palantir, the character separates himself from evil. He resists it. And so the music returns to some piece, and the piece is a well-known hymn. But how to put it together, it was, honestly, it was a flash. I knew it would be there would be like a shakon, a passacaglia with the recurring bass line to unite it. So I'm sorry, maybe my answer is too long. I'm sorry.
No. It's really interesting. It's really interesting to know about the story of the piece. I didn't know that your story. It's really interesting. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
As my next question, I would like to ask you about your guitars. You perform on modern guitar, Renaissance lute, and on an original French guitar from early 19th century, and a reproduction of 10-string double-necked romantic guitar of J.G. Scherzer. Could you please tell us more about your 10-string guitar? Because we see you most of the time with this. I saw you most of the time with this guitar. It was really interesting for me to know about it and why you have decided to have this reproduction of guitar.
Okay. Okay, I tried to make a short answer.
No, there's no problem.
It's actually a long story. But I had been interested in studying 19th century guitar and the method books from the original languages. Do you want the short answer or the long answer?
No, I prefer the long answer,
okay.
In fact.
Okay. That's easier for me. Okay. Well, so I did, at a point in my career, become interested in 19th century music. Was not always interested in this music. In fact, my early interest in music were medieval, Renaissance, Baroque, and avant-garde. In the middle, no, not interested. Mozart, Brahms, Beethoven, no. So now anybody listening to this is going to think, what? Because they seem to know me as a specialist in 19th century music. The truth is, I've always been eclectic. I'm kind of returning to the eclectic again, including electric guitar. But you know, it's really important to totally immerse yourself, or at least for me. My way is, for me, has always been to immerse completely, deeply in something to get to know it. I don't like when it's just at the surface. It seems false. It's not true. I don't like to dabble. And when I hear dabbling music, I don't like it. So, but why did I pick 19th century music? Okay, the festival where earlier in the interview we talked about a chamber music prize. That festival was focused on 19th century music on original instruments. Just prior to that prize, I had begun an interest in it because I picked up in Italy some original 19th century guitars in a display. And I was trying to think, okay, what Giuliani do I remember? So, you know. And here's a really important point. Everybody knows this, but we stop thinking about it. The instrument you choose, there's a physical, visceral connection with that. That's why we pick someone plays trumpet, someone plays guitar, another one plays organ, someone sings. There's a physical connection. The strange thing that happened to me was when I started to play what I remembered of Giuliani from my young student days, it worked in a way I imagined it for the first time. The instrument was teaching me how to play the music. Now, I just said I knew what the music should sound like, but I got away from that music because the modern guitar responds differently. It's a different tool. All of these are different tools in the toolbox. All the different guitars I have, they have a purpose. I'm not a collector. So I'm playing these instruments and my eye is opening and my ears, and I think, this music makes sense now. I'm learning. The instrument is teaching me. There began the journey where I began to immerse in this. I want to find out why. I want to play these instruments and learn from them. I want to go back to the early methods, read them in the original language. I want to be that. I want it to be true to this if I'm going to do it. Okay. Now, fast forward a bit. You know, won the competition with my wife who plays forte piano. So I got her interested in this. Okay. that actually led to a recording. You probably know it. Some other people know it. We perform together. We travel. Okay.
Oh.
But the Scherzer guitar, the one with 4 extra bass strings and the second neck. Okay. So along the same lines, I started to get interested in Napoleon Kost, Johann Caspar Merz, others. And in their music, it often says a little 8 in the bass, which means octave lower. And some of the music, I could hear it that way, and I was thinking, maybe I need that. Maybe, I don't know. The other thing I've always been interested in Baroque, Weiss, Bach, but I never liked the result on a modern guitar. Same thing, didn't have the range. And to sell the idea to my wife of getting another guitar, and I had to sell the idea, was, you know, there's a considerable amount of music from the 19th century for forte piano and terz guitar, which we know sounds, or for those that don't know, it sounds a minor third higher. It's a smaller guitar. Okay, transposing instrument. And it's really virtuoso stuff for that terz guitar with the forte piano, with high notes you cannot even play. So I said to her, oh, my dear, if we are going to access this repertoire, I need this Scherzer guitar. She says, I think you want that for Merz and Kost. I said, but this guitar has 24 frets. If I put a capo on it, I have a terz guitar. And so she said yes. The third reason, so now I have lots of reasons. The other reason for the Scherzer, so first was to play late romantic with the correct notes. Second, I can play with my wife. I can access the virtuoso terz guitar repertoire with forte piano. 2. 3, Baroque music. Yeah. So actually there's a fourth reason. And that's that I'm interested in composing, but I love those bass notes. And the guitar is so different with that. And it inspired me as a composer for the first time because of the bass notes. So again, I apologize for the long answer.
No, thank you for your long and perfect answer.